Hey ladies, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. If you're a returner, thanks for coming back. So before we get into the tutorial, I do want to let you guys know I'm doing a subscriber giveaway once I reach 1,000 subscribers, and y'all, we are almost there. So just click the like, click the subscribe button. It's literally going to take 3 seconds out of your time, and it's right there anyway, so you might as well go ahead and do it and help a girl out. And who knows, you might be someone that will win the nail kit and some gift cards. So just do it. It's going to take 3 seconds. So now we're going to go ahead and get into the tutorial. As you can tell by the caption of the video, we're doing a Valentine's Day marbled ombre. So of course I always start by pushing my client's cuticles back, and then I go over the entire nail with my 180 sanding band. And that's important because that gets rid of all of the natural oils, which will help prevent lifting and help your nails last. So now I'm just going ahead and applying the nail tips. My client went a medium square, so we're going in with square nail tips. And as you can see, the nail tips are fitting perfectly from sidewall to sidewall. I'm not applying any pressure, and the nail tips are not too big. You want to make sure that you are following this, because if you do apply pressure, that means the nail tip is too small and will eventually or could potentially pop off or lift. And if it's too big, obviously that's just going to be uncomfortable and not a good look for the set overall. So now we have them cut down to the length she wanted, and I'm just going over where the natural nail and the nail tip meet, and I'm blending it with that same sanding band, and that is also a very important step to help prevent lifting and help retention. And now I'm going in with my Mia Secret dehydrator, and this is just another step to getting rid of those natural oils. So that is really, really important, you all, as well as this next step. I'm going in with 1 layer of Mia Secret Extra Bond, and this is like primer or bonder. This is what will help the acrylic adhere to the nails. Now, I always do 2 coats, especially in sets like this. And I say that because before we go in with any acrylic, we are going in to do the marbled. So I'm using gel polish for this set in particular, because I feel like it was just easier for the overall design that we were going for, rather than using acrylic. And when I do marble, I always try to use gel polish over acrylic, just because I feel like it gives a better look and it's easier to manipulate. So this is actually a really, really simple design. I just start off by putting dabs of the colors that we're going to use. So here you can see we're using a light pink, a white, and a red. And once I apply a little bit of each color, I'm just taking a dotting tool and I'm literally just mixing it. There's no effort here. I'm just swirling them around to where they're all blended and there's not too much of one color in any area. As you can see, if you feel like you need any more of a certain color here or there, definitely just take that color, as you can see I'm doing here, and just run it through and just add wherever you feel like it's needed. Now, I will say I recommend to work a little bit lighter with the colors at first, rather than just throwing on a bunch of polish, because it will start to run off of the nails since this is gel. And I feel like if you mix it, if you use too much polish, when you start to mix it, it'll just start to blend too much because there's too much product, and it won't really give the marble effect that we're going for, if that makes sense. So you just want to make sure that you are kind of starting off a little light and add as needed. And then, as you can see, I'm making sure to wipe the sides of the nails to get any of the excess polish off, and then I'm going to cure it. Now, this is up to you, but you can do all of the nails and then cure it. But for me, I feel like the polish was running a little too quick for my liking. So rather than, miss a nail and, end up drying it and then it comes out and it's bubbly, or, polish has seeped off of the sides, I just like to work a few nails at a time when doing this, depending on how the polish is, kind of reacting. And so as you can see, I just did 2 nails, wiped it, and then cured it. And then I'm going to come back and do 2 more nails, do the design, and then cure it. And then I am going to do the thumb as well. Now, like I said, to each his own. You can do all 5 fingers if you'd like and then cure them. But I just feel like in this particular set at this time, the polish was a little more runny than what I'm used to. So I just felt like it would be better to just go ahead and do 2 nails at a time and cure them. That way I know that I'm not having any excess polish on the sides of the nails. I'm not potentially, risking drying them and then pulling her hand back out, and now, there's lumps on the side or bumps or whatever the case may be. Now, if you do have that happen, although I don't have it here to show you, if you do have that happen, I do just want to let you know an easy way to fix that. we do have to top coat this design. So you will fix that after. So if you're someone that that happens to, after you cure all of the polish, you're going to go in with a top coat, a gel top coat. Now, of course, as you can see, you don't want to go over the natural nail. You just want to go over what you painted with polish. Now, to fix that issue, if you have that issue, after curing, then you'll go in with your file and file off wherever, the polishes has, came off and leaked on the side, wherever you feel like you need to make the nail more crisp. And I say to do that after the top coat because it's easier to do it once the polish is no longer tacky. If you file before doing the top coat, obviously the polish will either be wet or still be tacky, so all of the dust will just stick to the polish. So it's easier if you just top coat it and then file and clean up anything if needed. But as you can see, we went ahead and put the top coat on, and I just let it cure for 90 seconds. And now we're going to go in with the acrylic. I'm using Mia's Secret, Cover Nude, I think. If you want to know the exact color, just comment down below and I will get that for you and comment. I use it literally all the time. I can't believe that I'm forgetting, but I definitely recommend it. As you can see, it blends so easily here. It's definitely one of my favorites to use when I'm doing an ombre. And it's just such a pretty color, and it really goes well with everything. So as you can see here, I only had to use 2 beads. So when doing this design, I do encapsulate this. And this is totally optional, but I definitely recommend it because although we have a top coat on the polish design that we did, it's very thin. So when we take the drill, the e-file, I should say, to file that, or even just a regular file to clean up the shape, you could potentially take some of that off because the only thing that is protecting that design is 1 layer of gel top coat. So I do decide to still go ahead and encapsulate every time I do a design like this. So I recommend it. And my point in saying that is, since we're going to be doing encapsulation, if you've watched my videos before, I always remind you guys not to use too much acrylic underneath the encapsulation. So what I mean by that is, as you can see here, we're doing an ombre, right? So I don't want to use too thick of beads, and that's why I'm working 1 bead at a time. I'm starting with my first bead right above where the design ends, or right where the natural nail and the nail tip meet is a better explanation. And as you can see, I'm just feathering it down. You don't want to work too heavily. You don't want to apply much pressure. You don't want to press too hard and get the acrylic in your brush. You just want to get the bead, and when you place it, leave it just a little more on the wetter side. That way it's easier to blend and manipulate. So as you can see, I'm literally just brushing it down really lightly, and it's giving me a perfect blend. It looks so good. And once I have that completely blended and I'm making sure to continue to wipe the sides of the nails, I'm going to go in with my second bead just right above that, right underneath the cuticle area, and I'm going to just go ahead and blend that one in as well. The reason I say right above the last bead but right under the cuticle area is because you do not want the cuticle area to flood. If you've watched my videos before, then I always say that although it's an easy fix, you really want to avoid any acrylic getting on your client's skin or over the cuticle area, and that is because you will get lifting, and it's easier to fix with the acrylic being wet than it is once it's dry. So a big tip to help prevent that is, before you move on to the next nail and as you're working on the nail, just make sure that you're constantly wiping around your client's skin, wiping around their cuticle area, keeping everything nice and clean, and it will definitely help prevent that. Sometimes I don't even have acrylic right there, but I still, just for safe measures, it's just a habit that I've gotten into. I still wipe around the cuticle area and clean up the sides of the nails as well. So as you'll see, I keep taking my brush and running it against the sides of the nails just to make sure that all the acrylic is where it should be, nice and neat and packed. The goal here with the cuticle bead is to make it look as flush as possible. So half of that comes from the acrylic application and the other half will come from when we work with our e-file. But this is a major part of it. So as you can see, I'm just really making sure I'm emphasizing y'all on keeping that cuticle area clean and flush, because it's so much easier to do that while you're working with the acrylic than to try to fix it and clean it up afterwards. So here we are working on the thumb, and I'm doing the same thing. I placed my first bead right above where the design ends, or starts, I guess I should say, and just feather that down, lightly blend it, and then I'm going to go ahead and place my second bead. Now I will say sometimes on the thumbs when I'm doing this design, I do have to use more than 2 beads. And even if you have to use more than 2 beads on the other nails, or if you are really good and can just use one, that is fine. Definitely to each his own, do what works for you. But me personally, I just like to work a little bit at a time. So that is why sometimes you'll see me use more than 1 bead, even when it's not totally necessary. Like this set, for instance, 1 bead would have been enough. But I just work how I work, and I encourage you all to do the same. I just do these videos just to show you how I do things and to hopefully maybe help someone out if it's needed. But I'm not like the nail guru or the nail god. Okay, so if you do anything differently from how I do it, as long as we're getting results that are making our clients happy, and we are following, all the rules and being sanitary, that's all that matters. So now I'm going to go in with my encapsulation. So I always just use 1 bead here, unless, y'all, I don't know what was going on, but my clear acrylic was drying very, very quickly. Not sure what was going on here, but so normally I would use 1 bead and start it at the top and just bring it all the way down. But for some reason on some of the nails, like I said, the acrylic was drying way quicker. So I did have to go in and just, fill in the spots where it didn't make it to. I don't know why I just said that, or I could not get that out. But basically, obviously, if the acrylic is drying, before I can get it all the way to the bottom of the nail, then we're going to have one part of the nail, more full than the other. So that's what I mean by when I say I have to fill it in. Now, I wasn't doing this on every nail. I'm not sure if it was something I was doing or if just happened to be, maybe the amount of acrylic I picked up, whatever the case may be. I needed more than 1 bead for some of the nails, which is okay. As you can see, we're still getting the job done. So usually, like I said, I only use 1 bead, and I just started at the cuticle area and just slightly feather it all the way down to the free edge and clean up my shape and move on to the next one. Because again, we don't want the nails, we're not encapsulating it to make it big or to make it thick or anything of that sort. We are just encapsulating this set just so we can give that gel marble design another layer of protection. Because again, like I said, all it has besides this encapsulation is 1 layer of gel top coat. And if you're a nail tech, you know that does not stand a chance to any e-file or regular nail file. So this encapsulation, this extra layer of clear acrylic will definitely help that and help prevent that from messing up. If you feel like you need to use a little bit more, then go ahead. But as you can see from the little glimpses, the little shots of being able to see the sides, the side views of my nails, we've built her foundation up pretty well. The 2 beads of acrylic from the Ombre definitely gave us a nice apex, and it gave us a nice foundation overall. So if we weren't needing to protect that design a little bit more, this would have been fine and good to go. But since we are going to do it just to be safe and really lock in that design, 1 layer of clear will do the job, and it will still allow us to have a nice built up apex and a really nice foundation, because again, that is really important here. You obviously don't want to have nails that are too big, because then when you go to file, it's just going to take up more time and end up being a waste of product. But you don't want to have them too thin, because you don't want no clients walking out and breaking nails. We don't do breaking nails over here, okay? And I'm just playing. If that's something that you have going on, we all have been there and done that. My nails used to be breaking. My clients' nails used to be breaking like no tomorrow. It's a learning process. As long as you are trying to better yourself and you're trying to figure out the problem, you're trying to get better and working on your craft, that's all that matters. Don't let anybody discourage you, and don't rush the process, because I have been doing nails for almost 5 years, and I just started feeling like, not confident. I've always liked my work, but I have just started kind of feeling like within the past year or so, happy and comfortable within myself as a nail tech. And that's totally okay. Everybody's on their own timing. Some people, will feel like that sooner than others, and some people might feel like that way later down the road. But all I can say, the best advice I can give is just keep perfecting and working on your craft, and you will get there, girl or guy. You'll get there, babe. So, yeah, we are done with the encapsulation. The thumbs always give me issues. Am I the only nail tech? I feel like it's just a weird, awkward, always a weird, awkward angle with the thumbs. I don't know what it is. When I'm doing the regular fingers, we just flow. We're good. We're going. And then when I get to the thumbs, it's like awkward. So, okay, we have them nice and encapsulated. Look how clean, you guys. There's nothing on the cuticle area. They're nice and neat. We still have good shape. No lumpy, no fat nails. We are good. Honestly, y'all, I could slap a top coat on and send her on her way. But we got to make them look even better. So now I'm going to go in with my file, and I'm using an 80 grit nail file here. This is one of the sharpest files. I think this is the sharpest. So if you decide to use this, great. You'll definitely have a nice shape. But make sure to pull your client's skin back at all times, because this file, like I said, is pretty sharp, especially since, you always start off with using a brand new file for each client. So it's going to be at its most sharp when you first start using it. So just definitely make sure to pull your client's skin back when filing the sides. You want to keep the file pressed straight up against the nail and file at a 90-degree angle. And you want to follow that same rule when you're filing the free edge. Just file straight up and down at a 90-degree angle. As you can see, I'm also making sure to get underneath the side walls of the nails. That's really important, because as you apply the acrylic and file, sometimes you can get a little bit of rigidness underneath the nails. And as you can see, or if you remember me telling you, that I constantly make sure that I'm pressing, like when I'm applying the acrylic, I'm pressing up against the sides of the nails and the free edge. To keep the shape. Yes, that keeps the shape, but sometimes it does cause acrylic to get pushed up underneath. And once it dries, of course, we got bubbles and ridges and lumps. So you just definitely want to make sure that you're showing the undersides of the nails some love. And this is such an easy step. You don't want to have to do too much. You just want to make sure that you are just taking your file and briefly going underneath. It definitely makes a difference. If you don't do this on a client and then you turn her hands upside down and look at the bottoms when they're done versus doing it, you'll definitely see a difference. So just keep that in mind. And again, like I said, you want to keep the file straight up and down at a 90-degree angle when filing. Same with the free edge. And you want to make sure that you're taking your client's hand and looking at it from different angles. When you're staring at it for so long, especially if you're doing multiple clients a day, it can start to look like everything is just automatically straight after filing, and that is definitely not always the case. I've learned that the hard way. So you just want to double check and take a few extra, seconds out of your time to just look at your client's hands from different angles, from the side, flip it around a little bit, and just make sure that everything is nice and straight. And so here I am taking the file and I am just going across every area of the nail except for near the cuticle area. And I'm just briefly running the file back and forth, covering the entire nail except for the cuticle area. Now, I just do this because I feel like it has given me a better look overall. I feel like when I apply the top coat, the nails look so much more smooth. I feel like it just really adds to it, and it's something I can't really explain, because we do use the e-file on the nail still. In the past, I would file the entire nail. Now I literally just briefly file the entire nail, and I mainly just focus on the cuticle area. I feel like when you do that, it's just not, when you use the file as you just seen me use, it's just not as necessary to use the e-file. But still, to each his own. I just feel like overall I do that because it really helps to look at my nails in the end result. As you can see, I just had some of that acrylic I was telling you about underneath the sides of the nail. So yeah, you just want to carefully run this across, and be careful, because as you're doing it, obviously you can see it's going back and forth pretty quick. It is very easy to nick your client, so just be careful, because I have done that a few times, I will admit. And although it doesn't really hurt them a lot, you just don't want to be nicking your client, You want to be careful, especially around the cuticle area and the skin on the fingers, because it's so delicate and soft most of the time. So now here I am taking that e-file, and as you can see, I'm really focusing on the cuticle area, you just want to make sure that you're going left to right, getting the entire cuticle area. And this is important because this is what will seal the cuticles and that helps prevent lifting. You want to make it look as flush as possible. So the goal here is not necessarily to take off any acrylic unless you feel like it's needed, but really just to smooth everything out and really seal them cuticles. Really make it look nice and flush as if it's coming straight from the nail. Clean it up as much as you can. And as you can see, yes, I'm focusing mostly on the cuticle area and the top and getting it nice and neat, nice and flush, nice and clean. But I am also just taking the e-file and running across the entire nail from top to bottom just briefly. Now, granted, before I started to use the file before I started to run the file across the nail, I guess it's more simply put, I did use my e-file over the entire nail and I did spend more time on it. But since I've started to use the file, I feel like I don't need to do that. I still do it just because force a habit, and I feel like it does kind of help get rid of some of the marks that were left on there from the file. And it's just, you know, better safe than sorry. It just is nice to run over it one more time, just a little bit, to make sure that, again, everything is nice and even and smooth. You don't want any lumps or bumps. This is the time to fix that here. But more of the story overall, I'm really just having to focus on the cuticle area. And of course, since we did encapsulate, if you do feel like there are spots where you have more acrylic than what is wanted or what is needed, definitely just go ahead and pay a little bit of attention, a little bit of closer attention here, so you can go ahead and fix that and just go ahead and get any excess acrylic off that you feel like is not needed. But that is why I just kind of threw that in there during the application process, that you do just want to keep in mind, we do got to come back and get to this point of using the e-file and filing. So it's better to just go ahead and work smarter. That way you don't have to work harder later. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, it's going to save you a lot of time. So we are going ahead and sealing the cuticle on the thumb. I do need to kind of file down the apex on the thumb just a little bit. Like I said, the thumbs are sometimes awkward for me, so I had a little bit more acrylic than what I would like. But now we're going to go ahead and buff them, and this is just a super easy step. You literally take your little buffer and just buff the entire nail from top to bottom, side to side. You want to buff the entire nail. I even buff the undersides briefly, just really quickly. And then I don't film this next step, but I do lather my clients' cuticles and fingers in cuticle oil, and then I have them wash with soap. And now we are here, and that gives like a really nice clean base and ready for any design. Now, granted, this design was mostly done in the beginning, earlier steps of the video. So all we're going to do here is go ahead and top coat it, and I'm using Koopa gel top coat or glass top coat or something like that. But either way, it's gel, and the brand is Koopa with the cute little red lid, and I'm just applying that. You don't want to apply too much, you just want to apply just enough to give it that nice glass finish. And then we are going to wipe the sides of the nails to make sure that we don't have any excess product coming off or seeping over on the sides. We all know gel is thicker, so that can happen. And then I just cure it for 90 seconds. I always do 90 just to be safe. I feel like you only have to do 60, but 90 don't hurt nobody, you know? So again, like I mentioned in the earlier part of the video, we are going to be adding some bling. So we're just doing like a light, simple look here. I'm just doing like some scattered little baby rhinestones. We're just going to do 3 on each finger. But on the middle finger, we are going to add a super cute pearl heart. So I did kind of flip the stones a little bit on this one just to give it a little razzle since we're adding the heart. For this, for the application of the stones, I am using Macart rhinestone glue, and it never fails me, y'all. It literally never fails me. I will say though, when you're using the bigger charms, be generous with it, because when I first started, I would just put just enough, lay the charm down, and have my clients cure. But I had noticed that the charms, like the bigger charms anyways, would come off quicker. So you do want to make sure that you're being generous. And then for certain charms, you do want to add top coat, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So with the little ones, they definitely stick. I put enough to where the rhinestone kind of seep, not too much on the nail to where you can see it, but enough to where the small rhinestone, when I do place it, will kind of seep down into it, if that makes sense. And to place them, I'm literally just getting a little bit of glue on my dotting tool and picking them up with that and placing them right where I need them to go. Super easy. Now I will say, definitely make sure you are checking the placement of your stones before curing, because with this, once you put it on the dryer, it dries literally ASAP, probably within 3 seconds. So however your stones are, wherever they're at, once you place them on the dryer is where they're going to be. And it's so much easier to just go ahead and correct them before putting them under, rather than have your client pull her hand out and now your jewels are messed up and now you have to clip it off with your nippers and have glue there. Yeah, it's just the whole process. So that's just a little tip. Make sure that you're happy with where they're at. And so as you can see here, I just took a big blob of gel top coat and put it right in the center of the heart. I'm going to fix the placement and then cure it for 60 seconds, and that really helps hold it on. So yeah, y'all, this is the finished result. We went ahead and put some cuticle oil on, and now, yeah, we're here. I think these are so adorable, so cute. They came out exactly how we imagined them. I think I'm going to do these on more clients, as many as I can for Valentine's Day. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Please make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you for the support. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.